US President Donald Trump has arrived at the NATO summit in the Netherlands, boosted by the agreements of members to increase defence spending to 5%. The American leader met with the country's royal family ahead of a dinner with other leaders. But many NATO members will be concerned as the president seemed to dodge a commitment to the Article 5 part of the Charter, which means countries will defend members if others are invaded.
It depends on your definition. There's numerous definitions of Article 5. You know that, right? But I'm committed to being their friends. I've become friends with many of those leaders, and I'm committed to helping them.
Ukraine's President Volodymyr Zelensky received a hero's welcome at the NATO summit, but he told our colleagues at Sky over in the UK that he believes allies are taking too long to increase their defence spending because of the threat of Russia.
Do you think that Putin could attack another NATO country within 5 years, test Article 5 within 5 years or fewer number of years?
Precisely so. I believe so.
Sky's James Matthews has more now from the US.
Donald Trump, in that news conference, said that there are numerous definitions of Article 5. That is a fast emerging story. And that follow-up question, he didn't quite say what he meant, said that he might illuminate us or tell us more when he got to NATO. So we'll see how that one develops. Yesterday was head-spinning. Peace between Israel and Iran, the ceasefire certainly seemed to turn on a couple of truth social posts. It came together very quickly. It was an unlikely scenario for a ceasefire, and it looked unlikely when the ceasefire deadline kicked in, of course. Both sides firing missiles. That's why we had that very frustrated president early morning in the White House, having been delivered the news. And of course, he used industrial language, used the F word to talk about how Iran and Israel behaved. Not the language necessarily of the statesman, but the language of the street, and that matters more to Donald Trump. He's a man who wants to be seen to succeed, doesn't like the other F word, failure, doesn't like to be seen as a failure, and that's how things were shaping up early on. I mean, it's still a fragile ceasefire, it should be said, so we'll see how things develop in due course. Look at his body language on Air Force One. He is swaggering towards that NATO news conference, and if there was any doubt that his stature had been increased on the back of recent events, there was a Truth Social post. He republished a message, a private message from the NATO Secretary General, Mark Rutte, speaking about this 5% payment by NATO countries. Mark Rutte says, well, he addresses him, Mr. President, Dear Donald, it was not easy, but we've got them all signed on to 5%, Donald. You have driven us to a really, really important moment for America and Europe and the world. You will achieve something no, capitals, American president in decades could get done. Europe is going to pay in a big way, capitals again, as they should, and it will be your win. So that's Mark Rutte. That's the Secretary General of NATO. First of all, speaking or messaging Donald Trump in Truth Social fashion. Is that the way that international diplomacy is conducted now? Almost as if Donald Trump is writing the script himself, complete with capital letters and so on. So that's one thing. I do wonder if Rutte realised this was going to be made public, because it reads in a most excruciating way, but it reflects Donald Trump's increased stature.